Okay.
Hey, this is Tom Allenby bringing you a virtual eulogy for my friend Wade Wiegand. And in the spirit of virtual world we live in today, I'm wearing sweatpants underneath this suit and tie. So I met Wade over coffee and donuts. We were teaching third grade Sunday school, and coffee and donuts was the ritual for when we gave the kids back to their own parents. Now, to tell you how long ago this was, Starbucks had 5 locations in Seattle and no one had ever heard of them. So I was drinking hot chocolate and coffee because I couldn't handle the rest. But I call this tribute to Wade the divine friendship, because it made no sense that he and I were friends. He grew up in Oregon, I grew up in the rest of the country. I moved to Oregon, bought a farm, and my next door neighbor was a Duck fan, Pat Levy, and so I became a Duck fan. He was a Beaver fan. But he did have 2 boys and a girl, and so did I. But they weren't in the same grades, they weren't in the same classes, they didn't play on the same teams. So how did we become friends? How did we become such good friends? How did we know that we would always be there and create a bond of trust between the 2 of us? Well, it's really pretty simple. We both did the same thing. We were both salesmen. And for those of you who are not salesmen, I will explain the bond. Every day is a roller coaster. You have more losses than wins. You have long drives in a car. You have overnights by yourself. But during that time in our younger lives, an invention was created called the cell phone. And we were able to talk to each other on our long drives and our overnight trips. Because who else do you talk to but a fellow salesman about the ups and the downs of the roller coaster ride? Who else do you strategize about life with your children and your job and your spouse and all of the things that go into the daily aspects of our lives? How do you deal with the pressures of not knowing where your next paycheck's coming from that greatly affects your relationships? You share that with someone who knows what you're going through. You set aside your emotions to everyone else, and you find that confident. And we were there for each other. And it wasn't that we didn't share common experiences, and I even went to a Beaver game with him one time, which was enough. But we did play golf and basketball, and we went to each other's parties and helped each other's kids, and he helped me move, and I'm a lousy mover. But it was more that we helped each other with the defeats of life. And he helped me through a couple of brutal times, and I helped him the same way. We were just there for each other unconditionally, with judgment. We told each other the truth, and we fought to make it better. It was a rare, indeed, friendship. Okay, 2 funny stories. One was Wade's 50th surprise birthday party. I showed up a day early, but fortunately it was at someone else's house. And so I got to make 2 trips to Silverton the weekend he turned 50. And the other was a New Year's Eve party that we had when I moved into the house in Happy Valley. Now we had to make 2 trips. Okay, and so by the time we got back with all the big stuff on the second trip, Brenna had put away all of the kitchen. Now you can only imagine this was a very tall house with very high cabinets, and Brenna had put everything away as if Wade was going to use them. So everything I needed was on the top shelf and I couldn't reach for it. We always end every conversation with "I love you" and a hug. A friendship became more than a friendship. It truly became a bond between us. Wade, you will be missed, but not forgotten. Go with God. You thought I was going to say, go Beavs.